pronounced Vitame. Dziękuję. Poland is a dynamic market, a significant importer and exporter of translated works, and an innovator in the digital space. Witness, for example, last year's triumph for Super Memo, which won the International Education Learning Resources Award, sponsored by the China Publishing and Media Journal, for its language learning game Olive Green. This year, we have expanded the market-focused segment of the awards, so that tonight we will be honouring both an adult publisher in Poland and a children's publisher. And I do urge you most strongly to visit the beautiful, beautiful Polish pavilion, where you will receive a warm welcome and see the richness of their publishing. We hope all our shortlisted nominees from overseas have a chance to experience some of the UK's creativity during London Book and Screen Week while they are here. There is a mouth-watering variety of events on offer, from a discussion of the links between gaming and storytelling at BAFTA, to a whole evening of Danish hygge at Waterstones Piccadilly. It is another special year for the book industry in the UK. Last year we celebrated Shakespeare 400. This year we have 3 competing anniversaries. Harry is 20, that's Harry Potter, in case you were wondering. Jane is 200, that's Jane Austen. And Jonathan is 350, that's Jonathan Swift. Talking of anniversaries, HarperCollins is celebrating its bicentenary this year too. And it is also 70 years since India became independent, and 60 years since the National Book Trust of India was founded. We are marking these Indian anniversaries with a special spotlight on India across 3 pavilions, as well as a specially curated rights catalogue of Indian writing, co-created by the London Book Fair and the Federation of Indian Chambers of Commerce and Industry. We are delighted that World Reader is our designated charity this year. World Reader is a non-profit that provides children, students and families free access to its digital library via e-readers and mobile phones. Since 2010, more than 5 million people across 52 countries have read from a library of more than 40,000 local and international e-books on World Reader platforms. Do visit their stand to find out more about this quite extraordinary company. Once again, we are very pleased to have the support of the Accessible Books Consortium this year to recognise those companies making strides to boost access to book content for those who are visually impaired. And among our new awards tonight is a very important one, the Inclusivity in Publishing Award, which acknowledges those companies addressing diversity in their workforce and publishing programmes. The London Book Fair was proud to host the first conference on inclusivity at the end of last year, and I must thank Emma House at the Publishers Association for her valuable input. As a prelude to next year's market focus, which is the Baltic countries, I'd like to welcome Lithuania in particular, which is a new country shortlisted in the awards this evening. We are delighted to be celebrating the global book industry tonight, which is worth $150 billion and is at the root of so much creativity across media, whether that be film, stage, audio or game. Books remain the lifeblood, and tonight we acknowledge their magnificent resilience. Our compere for this evening is once again the broadcaster and writer Paul Bethard. But now it's my great pleasure to hand over to David Roach, Non-Executive Chairman of the London Book Fair, who will introduce a very special award, the London Book Fair Lifetime Achievement Award. We do hope you enjoy the evening, and thank you for coming.
Ladies and gentlemen, Your Excellency, distinguished guests, the London Book Fair International Lifetime Achievement Award recognises an individual who has made a truly significant mark in the sphere of global publishing. It is open to publishers, agents, editors, scouts, in fact anyone involved in international publishing from any country in the world. Previous winners include a veritable hall of fame. I'm honoured to chair the London Book Fair Advisory Board, who this year we're delighted to select as the recipient of the LBF Lifetime Achievement Award 2017, Luiz Schwarcz. Luiz has had a wonderful career that has seen enormous success at both his publishing company, Companhia das Letras, in Brazil, and his authors. He co-founded the publisher with his wife, who's here tonight, historian and anthropologist Luiz Schwarcz, in 1986, the year after the dictatorship ended. His company made a profound and unique contribution to book publishing in Brazil, having published over 5,000 titles across fiction and non-fiction. It publishes 38 Nobel laureates, including Toni Morrison, Doris Lessing, José Saramago, and J.M. Coetzee. In October 2016, the company celebrated its 30th anniversary. Luiz has received numerous accolades over the decades. His work to improve literacy amongst disenfranchised groups, and is also the author of 4 books. I am so delighted that London Book Fair can recognise the breadth and distinction of his contribution with this Lifetime Achievement Award. I'd now like to ask one of his stellar authors to say a few words for us and to present the award. So please give a huge welcome to Ian McEwan.
Well, thank you, David, for giving my speech. Good night. Well, good evening, lovers of literature. It's a great honour to present this award to Luiz. It's the first time I've set foot in the London Book Fair, so I'm satisfying a great deal of curiosity. I'm very aware that only a couple of years ago, my dearest friend, Deborah Rodgers, received this award, and it's nice to feel that she's still fresh in all our thoughts. Now, there exists in publishing a certain breed of men and women who are their publishing house. That house would not exist without them, and they would not exist in any meaningful sense without the house. These are driven, even splendidly crazy people. They don't just love books, they eat and inhale and dream and exhale books. And in their preoccupations and their passion, they resemble mad scientists, artists, musicians, and by general consent, they are completely nuts. I've known a few during my writing life: Jacob Groot of De Harmony, the late Daniel Cale of Diogenes, Dorothea Bromberg of Bromberg, Jorge Herralde of Anagram, Tom Masher of Cape, are just some. And by the way, I came from the bedside of Jorge Herralde, who has been laid up since November. And why? Because he was carrying several armfuls of books through the streets of Barcelona and fell onto his side. So there you go, just shows you how crazy they are. Now, in my experience, this type is not much interested in fame. They're too preoccupied and too restless to stand still for the camera. So I've got mixed feelings and a degree of guilt as we shine a fierce light on and honour tonight a superb specimen of the genus Homo publicans, Luiz Schwarcz. He appears before us now when, in fact, I'm sure he'd be rather reading than buying and then improving a good book. As David said, it's just over 30 years when he and his wife Lily, the immensely respected anthropologist and historian, founded the Companhia das Letras. Luiz saw an opportunity to bring quality writing, expertly edited in beautifully produced editions, to a Brazilian public. How extraordinary to reflect that one of the early successes of Companhia das Letras was Edmund Wilson's To the Finland Station. Imagine that as a bestseller. Right about Stalin, terribly wrong about the murderous Lenin, but still recognized as a brilliant piece of history. And that was an unusual achievement that I think prefigured everything that was to come. And it came through Luiz's genius as he became the driving force in the literary culture of this vast, diverse, and hugely important country. Companhia das Letras more or less single-handedly sponsored a scholarly revival that allowed Brazil to recover its own past through the historical writing of Lily and many other scholars. In fiction and non-fiction, the essence of this house has remained pluralistic, open-minded, generous, and daring. It brought the best of Brazilian writing as well as an entire world literature in translation to Brazil. And through Luiz's passion, which we understand, of course, as a form of benign insanity, the company simply grew and grew. And as you all know very well, the partnership with Penguin and then Random House came about, 16 imprints, and as we've just heard, 5,000 titles, all those Nobel Prize winners, 200 employees, and above all, a continuing commitment to publishing work of the highest order. In post-totalitarian Brazil, and during the long, slow progress to full democracy, Companhia das Letras has played a leading role in the country's cultural renaissance. It has taken literature, fiction and non-fiction, into prisons, schools, and into the slums. It's created scores of book clubs. It's satisfied the reading hunger of millions of children. It's encouraged the best of young Brazilian writers and scholars. And Luiz, along with his friend Liz Calder, founded the great International Literary Festival in Paris. He's been intimately connected with the brilliant Sao Paulo Symphony Orchestra. You must go there if you're ever in that great city and see their hall, which is their home, housed in the main railway station. Astonishing acoustic and a hall of really astounding beauty. Internationally too, this is an orchestra of the first order, and we've been very, very closely associated with its success. So, what a man, what a life. And it will go on. So, Luiz, my dear friend, has published me for many, many years. I think we can say that you embody the essence of the fruits of civilized, humane, and generous existence. So please come up and accept your just desserts, the London Book Fair's Lifetime Achievement Award.
Thank you, Ian. I don't know how to thank you enough for the words you said and for being here. I was so embarrassed to invite you, you know that. Anyway, how embarrassing this is, but I think there is no escape now. And let's begin at the beginning, or rather with what comes after the embarrassment, and before I finish with all the thank yous. London Book Fair, why have you done this to me? Thanks a lot for the most honorable embarrassment I have ever had. Those close to me will know that I'm shy and have an aversion to social occasions. Those who don't know me have probably figured as much from my voice and body language up here on stage. So please understand that I am only a little bit more profoundly grateful than I am profoundly shy and humbled. I don't think publishers should receive prizes or awards. And it's easy to say that when you are up here accepting the most prestigious of them all. But I mean it. Awards are for authors, not for us. And for that reason, I want to dedicate this prize to all of Companhia das Letras authors, represented here by Ian McEwan, one of those who knows me best. Ian, your friendship alone is worth more than the almost 40 years I've devoted to books. This award belongs to all of you, my authors, not to me. I learned so much from you. I learned all from you. Thanks a lot. That said, I'm extremely honored to join the company of the many excellent publishers and professionals who have received this distinction in the past, especially one of the dearest people I have ever met, Deborah Rodgers, or Sweet Cat. If this award had not already existed, it would have to be created just for her, for the ethical example she has set us all, for her smile, for her teachings. In fact, I think it's far better to reward an agent like that than a publisher like me. Most of you here will know that I became an editor and later a publisher by chance. I was born and raised the only son and grandson of a Jewish family that immigrated to Brazil. Naturally, I was the heir to the greeting card company my grandfather started when he arrived in Brazil in 1947. So I went to follow what was decided for me before I was born, and I got my degree in business. However, in order to obtain my degree, I had to serve an internship. So I went looking for a publishing house, as I had decided along the way to become an university professor and small bookstore owner, instead of taking over the print industry as my family expected. I was taken on by Brasiliense, a medium-sized publishing house with a single publisher who was also the single editor and the single owner, and who gradually allowed me to participate in the editing work and have a say on book covers in principle and translations. At the beginning, I would say. It was there that chance played in my favor, or rather in favor of my becoming an editor. Let me explain. I often say that my career as an editor began at age 11 or 12, when a school teacher read us a short story about a small town where one day a stranger arrives, rents a house, and builds a very strange lab. Rumors begin in the town that the foreigner knows the recipe to turn the bones of the dead into gold. The teacher's reading was dramatic, and just as he reached the most exciting part, where everybody goes to the cemetery to get their relatives' bones to make it to gold, he stopped, closed the book, making a big noise that I never forgot, and said that he would only finish the story the following day. Needless to say, I barely slept a wink that night. Skipping ahead 10 or 11 years, we are back at Brasiliense, where after a talk with my boss, I suggested that we publish a collection of short stories by the great Brazilian black author Lima Barreto, a contemporary of the famous Machado de Assis, but not so well known. The idea was promptly accepted. After all, my boss's father was the founder of the publishing house that largely been responsible for rediscovering Lima Barreto some 40 years earlier, though he had been all but forgotten again since. I invited the main literary critics to organize the book, but they all declined. My boss then rashly said, "To hell with academics. It's your idea, you do it." I was only 22 at that time, and though I was an avid reader, my degree, as you already know, was in business. So I began reading all the author's stories, starting with a red hardback collection that had been lying around my office since long before I joined the company. During that reading, I came across a story that made almost my heart stop. It was Nova California, the New California, the one my teacher had read to us all those years before, but whose author I had never known or which name I had forgotten. That's why I brought with me today the copy of the first book I ever edited, signed by my old boss, Caio Graco, and which reads, "This is the first of many books you will edit. I hope they may all reflect as clearly the care and love you put into them, essential ingredients in all things beautiful." Curiously, the book I was editing with great care and love just before coming to the London Fair is a biography of Lima Barreto, the black author who was the sad visionary of so many of Brazil's still present problems. A book written by my wife, Luiz Schwarcz, present here today. I think I was the one that had the idea and commissioned her to do it. I hope she, seated in the first row, will agree with me. And so, the story that began with a boy who loved books and ended up, by chance, becoming an editor, due to the love he invested in literature right from the first book, continues now in 2017 with a biography about the man who was his first author, written by the person to whom he or I owes everything, including and most of all this award. Life, paid by chance, is perhaps one unbroken hymn to coincidence. So let me avail of a particular meaningful one to thank Lily, my wife, who I used to call the editor and author of my mind, to whom I owe the joy I feel today. Thank you. Since that collection, which I named for the story Nova California, everything I have done was an attempt to devote my life to two great, simultaneous, as important loves. My love of authors and of readers. In December 2015, the year before the 30th anniversary of Companhia das Letras, I decided to write some posts for our blog to convey my thoughts on the ethics of my profession and everything it involves. The result was a series of short, internet-style essays, which I might have called 30 Lessons on Humility or 30 Lessons on Simplicity, which I learned from books. When I look at what my colleagues and I have built at Companhia das Letras during this time, I think that it all comes down to the fact that a publisher's life attends to a supreme dual loyalty to the true artist and his or her reader. We publishers should aim to disappear between them, vanish amid the devotion that lends grace and meaning to our lives. Our role is simply to unite two very important moments of solitude. A solitude that leads to profound self-knowledge and to the most creative form of entertainment ever invented by mankind. And publishing, we all know, is not a one-man's or woman's job. It is the purest expression of teamwork since the first moment. So I dedicate this award to my colleagues of Companhia das Letras and of Penguin Random House around the world. The first one, especially, deserves a double award. Apart for having built what Companhia is today, for putting up with my anxiety and perfectionism. I would like to include here my partners, the Moreira Salles family and Penguin Random House, particularly John Makinson, that is the one that had the idea of uniting Companhia and Penguin, and now Marcus Dole, that shares so many important things with us, and as John also became a dear friend of Brazil and of ours. Over all these years, our team has looked to rise to the challenge of representing the literary instinct and desire of authors. The desire to pursue the perfect expression. This is what the authors want. This is in fact an ethical lesson for our society. What would happen if politics were invaded by literature, not by authors, by literature, or by literary and artistic values? If instead of the fight between individual interest or class or corporation, our citizenship were driven by that pursuit of perfect expression. That's what I always believed in, and I have believed it in a country like Brazil, one that has not yet found the right way to express itself, neither to its own people, first and foremost, nor to the rest of the world. The pursuit of a more just society begins with a more correct and respectful form of individual and social expression. And literature, with its example of freedom and respect for human complexity, is a good place to start, isn't it? Many thanks to all of you present in the ceremony from the bottom of my heart.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage our host for the evening, author and broadcaster